Match relay in Pakistan, the event taking place in a heavily guarded sports complex in front of invited guests and the media. Instead of travelling through the city's streets, runners passed the torch, running around and around the stadium grounds. The Olympic torch run has been disrupted, of course, by people protesting China's human rights record in places like Paris, London and San Francisco. Live pictures coming to you there. Now, Olympic experts say this private relay in Pakistan is the first time since 1984 that a torch run has been closed to the public. For more, we're joined by Reza Sayah in Islamabad. Reza, it must have been a fairly bizarre thing to see.
Talk about this historic torch relay. The torch relay is over. It was an historic one here in Islamabad, Pakistan. It was peaceful. There were no protests, no fights, no demonstrations. But, Michael, it will also go down in history as one of the most unusual torch relays ever. Why? Because it was closed off to the public. If you were here in Pakistan, if you didn't have a television set, you weren't able to see it because it was kept to an enclosed stadium. Right now, what you're seeing on live television is the closing ceremonies of this torch relay, and speaking to a gathering inside the gymnasium here at the stadium complex is the newly elected Prime Minister, Yusuf Raza Gilani. This torch relay was originally supposed to take place along a 5.5-kilometer route in the streets of Islamabad, but this week in a press conference, organizers scratched that plan. Instead, they kept it to a stadium, the main stadium here in Islamabad. Again, the public was not allowed in. The only people welcome were members of the media, invited guests, dignitaries, and elected officials. And it made for an unusual scenario because you had torchbearers doing laps around the stadium, and they continued to do laps until 66 torchbearers had their opportunity at the torch. Not exactly how a torch relay is supposed to go, but that's what we saw in Islamabad. Clearly, organizers did not want to take any chances. This torch relay in previous stops has been the target of aggressive pro-Tibetan protesters. And even though China and Pakistan have a solid relationship, even though there hasn't been a suicide attack in a major Pakistani city, organizers did not want to take any chances. They wanted to play it safe, and precisely because this was an enclosed event, it was a peaceful one. No pictures of protests were sent out to the world, and I think that was the intention, Michael, among organizers here.
All right, Reza, thanks for keeping an eye on that. Reza Sayah in Islamabad.